Welcome to Dark Frame. This channel is dedicated to original psychological thrillers, mysteries, and stories that explore the hidden moments behind human decisions. Every story you hear on Dark Frame is fictional, but inspired by real emotions, real fears, and the quiet choices that often matter the most. These are not stories about heroes or villains. They are stories about pressure, silence, and what happens when time runs out. Each series unfolds slowly, piece by piece, until the full picture comes into focus. You are invited to listen carefully, because in Dark Frame, every detail has meaning. Last time, Adrian Cole woke up in a room without windows, accused not of murder, but of silence. Lena was alive. She was afraid, and she was waiting for one call that never came. Now, the truth begins to fracture. A voicemail left unheard, a warning from an unknown voice, and a system that knew Adrian's choice before he made it. This is part 2 of the last hour of silence. This is the voicemail.
The room felt smaller after Adrian spoke. Because someone told me not to. Clara didn't move. She didn't react the way he expected, no sharp intake of breath, no sudden demand. Her pen hovered above the paper, perfectly still. "Say that again," she said calmly. Adrian swallowed. His mouth felt dry, like he'd been speaking for hours instead of minutes. "Someone told me not to call for help," he repeated. Clara finally wrote something down. "Who?" she asked again. Adrian shook his head. "I don't know his name." "You spoke to him?" "Yes." "When?" Adrian stared at the metal table. Its surface reflected the overhead light harshly, giving everything a sterile, unreal glow. "Earlier that night," he said. "Before I went back to Lena's apartment." Clara closed the folder slowly and folded her hands. "Start there," she said. "Not with Lena. With the call." Adrian hesitated. The memory felt distant, fragmented, like it belonged to someone else. "It was just after 10, he said. "I was driving. My phone rang. Private number. And you answered." "I don't usually," he said. "But I did." Clara waited. The voice was calm, Adrian continued. Too calm. Like he already knew I'd pick up. "What did he say?" Adrian closed his eyes. "He said, if she falls, don't involve anyone." Clara's pen stopped moving. "That's very specific," she said. "I thought it was a joke," Adrian said quickly. "Or some kind of threat. I didn't understand what he meant." "But you remembered it." "Yes." "And when Lena stopped answering her phone," Clara said, "that voice came back to you." Adrian nodded slowly. Clara leaned back in her chair. "Did the caller explain why you shouldn't involve anyone?" "He said it would make things worse," Adrian replied. "That everything would become permanent." Clara's eyes narrowed slightly. "Permanent how?" "He didn't say." The clock ticked softly in the background. 8:46. Clara stood and walked to the door, testing the handle. Locked, as expected. She turned back to Adrian. "You're describing coercion," she said. "But so far, it's very convenient coercion." Adrian looked up sharply. "You think I'm making this up?" "I think people reshape memories under pressure," Clara replied. "Especially when guilt is involved." "I didn't kill her." "I know," Clara said. That stopped him. "You know?" he asked. "Yes," she said. "If you had, this conversation would be much shorter." She returned to the table and picked up Lena's phone again. "Let's listen to the voicemail," Clara said. Adrian's stomach dropped. "I didn't." "You didn't listen to it last night," Clara said. "But you will now." She placed the phone between them and pressed play. At first, there was only static. Then Lena's voice. Breathing. Uneven. Painful. "Adrian," she said softly. I know you're mad. I know I said things I shouldn't have. Adrian squeezed his eyes shut. I fell, Lena continued. I think something's wrong. It hurts when I breathe. A pause. A sharp inhale. I'm scared, she whispered. Please call me back. The message ended. Silence rushed in to replace her voice. Adrian stared at the phone, his chest tight, his hands clenched into fists. She was still alive, he said hoarsely. Yes, Clara said. For another 15 minutes. Adrian shook his head. If I had known. You did know, Clara said quietly. You just didn't know how bad it was. That's not the same thing. No, Clara agreed. It's worse. He looked up at her. You said the police will be here in 1 hour. Why? Because at 9:17, Clara said, the narrative becomes official. What narrative? The one where you ignored a dying woman, she replied. The one where you chose silence. Adrian laughed bitterly. You talk like this is some kind of performance. In a way, Clara said, it is. She slid another document across the table. This is your original statement to the police, she said. You claimed you left Lena's apartment at 10 and didn't return. Adrian stared at the paper. I was panicking. And yet you remembered to lie. I didn't know she was dead. But you suspected she might be, Clara said. He didn't answer. Clara stood again, this time walking behind him. The caller, she said. Did he contact you again? Yes, Adrian said. After midnight. Clara stopped. What did he say? He thanked me, Adrian replied, his voice barely audible. He said I'd done the right thing. Clara returned to face him. And that's when you realized this wasn't random. Adrian nodded. He knew about the voicemail. He knew I hadn't listened. Which means, Clara said slowly, he had access to your phone, or to the system that monitors it. Adrian looked at her. What system? Clara checked the clock. 8:58. You're asking the wrong question, she said. What's the right one? She met his gaze. Why someone wanted Lena to die quietly. Adrian's heart began to pound. You said she fell, he said. An accident. Yes, Clara replied. But accidents can be encouraged. Adrian stood abruptly. You said I didn't kill her. I said you didn't push her, Clara corrected. The room felt suddenly airless. What are you saying? I'm saying, Clara said carefully, that someone made sure you wouldn't save her. Adrian's voice shook. And you're just, what? Watching? Clara's expression hardened for the first time. No, she said. I'm deciding what happens next. She picked up her folder and walked toward the door. 20 minutes, she added. That's all you have left. She paused, hand on the handle. Oh, Adrian, she said. You should know this. He looked up. You weren't the only one she called. The door closed. The lock clicked. Adrian stared at the phone on the table. At the voicemail he never listened to. At the clock. 9 o'clock. And for the first time, he understood. Lena's death wasn't the end of the story. It was the beginning.